So this first video is an introduction to the tools that are available in your toolkits. The toolkits you can borrow from the shop, and we also have a set of kits in the bookbinding studio for you to use when I'm running workshops. I believe there are also some kits that you can buy if you really get bitten by the bookbinding bug and want to go and make stuff at home. The first tool we're going to look at is the Bonefolder. It's one of the most important pieces of the Bookbinders kit. It is used for folding, for creasing, for rubbing down leather, rubbing down cloth. It's one of humanity's oldest tools. If you imagine a cave person getting pieces of an old woolly mammoth and getting a bit of bone and using that to scrape off the flesh from the hide to make clothing for themselves. And I love the continuity of tradition that has passed down through the centuries. This particular Bonefolder I have sanded into a point here, so it's more useful. It's much more acute angle. And I've also soaked it in olive oil. It's a more yellowy colour than the normal Bonefolders that we have at college. And that means it's easier to clean and it becomes less brittle. I have several Bonefolders, all of different shapes, depending on what job I want to use them for. Next we have the awl, otherwise called a bodkin or a pricker. It's used for making holes in sections prior to sewing. You will find different thicknesses and weights of the point. Obviously, health and safety, don't stick this in your fingers or your neighbour's fingers. Next we have the cobbler's knife or leather worker's knife. It's just a good strong knife and it's used for slitting paper, for cutting paper. You'll find lots of uses for this as well. You can, if you don't want to pay for these two, you can get an old-fashioned bone-handled butter knife that you can pick up in a junk shop very cheaply. The handle you can use as the Bonefolder and the blade you can use for cutting. Next we have needles. So you should have 2 needles on a bit of card attached with a bit of masking tape. It's really important that you put these needles back immediately after sewing so that we don't lose them. They're the easiest things to lose. These have got quite a small eye. It's important the eye isn't wider than the shaft of the needle and that the eye is big enough to thread with the linen thread, but not so big that you're making bigger holes as you sew through your book. For me, this is the most useful and practical needle size. Talking about thread, we have linen bookbinding thread. It comes in lots of colours, but generally this off-white is what we use the most. This size is 18/3 and it's a good medium average weight. You get much thicker and much thinner threads, but this is what we've put in the kits because it's a good all-rounder. We then have a stick of beeswax. The beeswax is useful for waxing thread, and we wax the thread because it helps to prevent knotting and it also helps to keep the thread within the paper, not to slip back, to lose the tension. You can get ready wax thread, but there's something very nice about waxing it yourself. Steel rule. So again, it's important that you get a steel rule which starts at 0. You also want to have a nice right angle on the end here. That is useful. And that it lies flat. The safety rulers, there's just too much stuff to get in the way. This is the most useful and practical ruler of all. Next we have the snap blade knife. We use this for cutting our pages and for cutting cloth. You push up the black handle here to extend the blade out. You pull that little bit back to lock it. If you want to take off a new bit of blade, you can see these diagonal lines. You want to extend it out a little bit just so you can see one diagonal line. You then take off this black handle here off the end. There's a groove in the back of the handle. You insert the old blade into there, snap it off, and you've safely removed your bit of blade. It's very important that you put this old bit of blade into the sharp spin so we're not leaving sharp bits of knife around. A pair of scissors, fairly self-explanatory. We also have a pencil, this feels fairly self-explanatory, and 2 bulldog clips. Again, useful. What is really important is that you ensure that all these items, 12 separate items, are put back into the kits, because we've lost a lot of items over the years and we're bored of paying for them again. So please, please, please take responsibility for your kits and make sure you put everything back in.